Y'all don't know how annoying people are. They are so annoying that they make me want to just put my hands around their throat and just squeeze really hard. Because I can tell people something point blank. Because I'm African American, though, they feel like I'm still going to ask you that anyway because you're a nice person and you're not like the African Americans that bully me in school. So I'm going to exert power against you to make me feel like I'm a bigger, badder person. Like, shut the fuck up, you cowards. Like, you are, like, I'm sick of arguing people online. I'm sick of arguing with non-African Americans that are uncultured as hell about African Americans and then expect us to be cultured about their culture. Like, no, I'm not gonna do this shit. If you can't watch the whole movie, if you can't read any of my points I make, if I try to be fair, and you're still gonna say, well, you play us all the time in slave movies, which have nothing to do with you. It has nothing to do with you. I'm just going to stop just trying to be fair and just tell you point blank. If you don't like us, if you don't respect our culture, don't bother playing us in films acting like you understand and relate to us. Oh, but we relate to you so much. No, you don't. Because most black people from different parts of the world do not like African Americans. I will straight up say this. Most people that come over here have this prejudiced belief about African Americans but cannot confront white supremacy. They can't affront white Americans, so they take it out on black Americans because they are cowardly, anti-black as shit. Okay? So don't sit here and say you can relate to us and that you want to play us because you want to get connected to our culture, but then don't respect us enough to listen to us. You just want money. You play us because you want money. You are so desperate for representation that you would rather step over other black people, ruin their representation, fuck it up for their own community than to just step aside and let other people be represented. To sit there and say, well, it's all about black people winning, but you won't let black people win. You won't let black people represent themselves. You feel the need to just come in and just take everything, like just take all the roles and then be like, oh, well, I'm just trying to represent you. No, you are selfish. A lot of thespians have this ideal that as long as I can act, I can take these. Like, this is something that is in theater. It's a very problematic mindset where certain people of privilege feel like they can just have everything. They can have every role. You know, they are such good actors. They feel entitled to everything. And you don't realize that just because you are a good actor does not mean you are entitled to everything that is meant for other people. If a role is for someone that is, say, from Germany and you're not German, you shouldn't play that. You shouldn't. I don't care how good you are. Some roles are not meant for you, and people need to understand this, especially black people who aren't African American. You need to understand that not every role is meant for you. Not every role for a black person is meant for you, just like not every role for a light skinned African American is meant for them. If it requires someone to be dark skinned, monoracial, whatever, a light skinned biracial person does not need to play that role, no matter how good that they are. But as I said, black people are so invested in trying to be represented that some of them will step over other black people and screw everything up for them, just as long as it means that they get represented. And then sit here and say, but we have an easier time in America than we have in our own country, not acknowledging the fact that we have a difficult time getting represented in America as African Americans that have been here for centuries thanks to slavery. You know, that's not our fault, and I won't apologize to that. It seems like a lot of non-African Americans want me to apologize that I'm an American by force, and I won't apologize for that. Like I said, I can do what I want. I can embrace my culture. I can wear box braids. I can wear the cheekies, because you know what? That is very much African American as anything else. So stop believing that everything that we do is like some sort of vendetta against Africans or Caribbeans. Like, not everything we do, we're trying to piss them off. Like, half the time, I'm just enjoying black culture from all different types of the world, and I'm minding my own business, as you should mind your own business. Anyway, I am going to talk about the beauty supply phenomenon where a lot of Asian Americans, particularly Korean Americans, love to follow African Americans in stores that are frequented by African Americans. In my neighborhood, we do have a beauty supply store, and they are ran by East Asians. And there's one black lady that works behind the counter, and she's usually someone that is considered a safe face. I will say a safe face where, as an African American, I really don't feel comfortable asking someone who's not African American about certain hair supplies. So I think she is there to direct Black women to certain products. But sometimes if I were to ask her, oh, where is the black castor oil, the man behind the counter will usually point to it. So to let me know, like, you can just ask me, which is fine. I don't have a problem with East Asians working at beauty supply stores. Like, I'm not one of those Black people that feels as if, oh my God, I have a problem with East Asians and they shouldn't be working here. Like, I don't feel that way. I feel like if they want to make money, make that money any way that you can. I don't have a problem with that. What I have a problem with is that you are making money off of African Americans, and a lot of times you don't respect that. You don't respect your patrons. You don't respect the fact that African Americans are putting money in your pockets, and that we are very open-minded people. As someone who is African American, I am going to support POC businesses, and I don't try to give attitudes to other POC because I understand they probably deal with bullshit from white people and some African Americans that have this xenophobic mindset. So I try to be careful and understanding. And like I said, the people in my neighborhood, they are nice, they are respectful, they don't follow you around, they don't do any of that. That's something that I've heard from other people, but I'm going to take African Americans' word when they say that a lot of East Asians are anti-Black because, I've heard it. I've heard so many cases where East Asians have followed Black people in stores, assaulted them, or put their hands on them when they really should not have put their hands on them. For instance, a couple of days ago, this Black girl was shopping at a mall and this East Asian man assumed that she stole, so he puts her in a chokehold, or no, he has his hand around her wrist and he won't let go the entire time the video is being shot. And it's an hour and not an hour, but it's a minute and 40 minutes. And she's asking him, let go of me. And he has his grip so tight that when people try to pull him off, he just won't let go. And I'm thinking, why? Why did you need to touch her? It's like it just did not sit well with me because this is a Black girl who is attractive, and then you have your arm around her and you won't let go. Like, why did you feel the need to do that? Like, that wasn't just customer harassment. That seemed like sexual harassment. Like you had a thing for her and you used that whole you stealing as an excuse. Like, that's weird. That was perverted to me, and I don't want to go there, but I feel like it's not just non-Black people, but it's Black people as well that feel like they have to put their hands on Black girls and then use that whole, oh well, you're a thug, you're gonna steal, so I have to like touch you in inappropriate places because I have to just make sure you're not gonna steal. And I feel like a lot of Black girls go through that where when you get searched or frisked, a lot of times, women frisk you, but women can sexually harass you as well. Sometimes they feel like, oh, I gotta make sure that you're not hiding anything. And these will be Black girls wearing tight clothes. No way that you can hide like guns or knives anywhere. And they still gotta be patting you down and filling you up. And it's just ridiculous, and I'm tired of it. I'm tired of Black bodies just being something that is consumable by everyone. And then there was another incident where an Asian man kicked a pregnant Black woman in the stomach. And this isn't just an isolated incident. This has happened so many times where a lot of East Asians have physically assaulted Black women in particular. There was an incident back in 1991, and I made a video about this. Latasha Harlan, where this East Asian woman, she is of Korean descent and she's still alive, shot and killed this little girl because she thought she was stealing orange juice, even though the girl had already paid for the orange juice. And the girl was only about 11 years old. And I know a lot of people feel as if, well, East Asians get the stereotype of being weak, delicate, and feminine, but much like that stereotype is on white women and that's the source of their oppression in America, I feel like a lot of East Asians do that to harm hyper aggressive black people, or black people that get that hyper aggressive stereotype where, well, I wasn't in the wrong, this mean black Doug attacked me and I'm just this delicate East Asian woman and I did nothing about it, so I had to defend myself. And a lot of people do that, and especially to black women. I heard an incident not too long ago, well, maybe some years ago actually, but it wasn't like too long, maybe about 3 or 4 years, where this black woman was at the store and she did steal. Like she stole something. So the woman was in the right to go after her, but what happened was the woman grabs her shirt so hard that she rips it off, and the girl is in nothing but a bra and she runs off. Now, the girl should not have been stealing. I'm not making any excuses, but I'm looking at it like, did you really have to grab her shirt and like pull like the whole thing off? You see, like, I feel like a lot of people be doing the most. A lot of non-black POC be doing the absolute most with black people in their stores, where you gotta be touching them, you gotta be like doing all this extra stuff and stuff that you are not supposed to be doing. Like, even if you think someone is stealing, you are not supposed to be putting your hands on them. You are not. You are supposed to call the police. That's what you are supposed to do. If you feel as if someone is stealing, call the police. Like, I'm not someone that feels as if you need to be stealing in stores, but if people steal, it is not that deep to the point where you got to go after them, you got to shoot them, you got to put your hands on them. It is not that deep. And there are retail workers that say it is really not that deep to do that. It is really not that deep. Y'all are just anti-black. Because I'm going to look at it as Celine Dion looked at looting and stealing back in 2005 during Hurricane Katrina. Stealing is petty. It's petty. It really is petty. And I'm not just saying that because I've been in situations where, like, I've stole some things. Like, I've stolen books when I was in elementary school. I got caught because I stole, like, a small piece of candy from the store, which it was by my mom. It really was not that deep. It's just, like, y'all be doing the most. Like, yeah, black people shouldn't be stealing. You should tell black children, or any children for the matter, you shouldn't be stealing. But it's not that deep for you to, like, act like they are felons. Like, it's not like you robbing a bank or something like that. And a lot of people be looking at it like, oh, if you steal something, it's the end of the world. When really you just feel as if poor people, poor black people don't deserve anything. So you're getting mad when they are taking something that you feel they don't deserve. And that's what it is. And that's what Celine Dion was about. Like, oh, you mad because these poor people are stealing and that's the only thing that they can ever touch? Let them steal. Let them steal. It's not that deep. It's not that deep where you gotta sexually harass someone, you gotta murder someone because they can't pay for something. And then they can't do it the right way. But back to this whole beauty supply anti-black phenomenon, it just does not make sense where we don't feel safe in our own spaces. I used to be very uncomfortable walking into beauty supply stores because I watched Menace to Society and I watched the parody Don't Drink Your Juice in a Hood, and I feel like, wow, like, if that's how a lot of non-black PRC are going to be, like, I don't feel comfortable because I don't want to be followed around and have people be very rude to me because I have social anxiety. I am autistic. I cannot handle people yelling at me or following me in stores. I cannot do that. I get very, very uncomfortable. So uncomfortable that I may just break down, cry, or I just may pass out. And that's how terrible my anxiety is. It's very rare for it to happen, but it can happen, and it has happened before. So for black girls to not feel safe going to a store that is geared for them, that's very sad. And I shouldn't have to feel uncomfortable about going somewhere where they are selling things for me, because I have to get this type of hair so I can protect my own natural hair. I have to get natural hair products so I can protect and grow out my hair. And then for the people to be working there and not respect me or to not respect their customers, that's problematic. And that's why a lot of people feel as if they need to have black-owned beauty supply stores. But we've attempted, but a lot of East Asian businesses ran us out of our own neighborhoods because because of competition. Of course, they are business people, so they are going to, like, try to make sure that they stay in business, and I understand that. But you need to understand that black people do need to run their own businesses, especially beauty supply stores. Now, when it comes to black businesses, I'm not a big fan of hiking up prices for poor black people, and then your excuse is, well, we're black people, so we don't make enough money, so I gotta charge you $10 for this 5-ounce bottle of shea butter, something like that. And I just feel like that's why some black people don't really feel comfortable supporting all black businesses, because black businesses also have a problem with just exploiting black customers, feeling as if, you owe us money, you got to pay us more than white people because, you're supporting us and we're black, so we're doing you a favor, so we got to hike up prices for you. So it's kind of like a lose-lose situation where if you buy from black businesses, you feel as if you are being exploited, but if you buy from non-black businesses, you are definitely being exploited. But I feel as if we do need to have beauty supply stores where it's ran by black women. And in Indianapolis, there is a beauty supply store that is ran by a black woman. And I feel like going there one of these days when I can like make a trip up there. Basically, what I am saying is I don't have a problem with Koreans running beauty stores. I don't have a problem with Chinese people running business stores because these are typically people who are running these stores. But what I have an issue with is anti-blackness. What I have an issue with is that you cannot respect your customers enough to respect their boundaries, because if you respect your customers enough, then you should at least trust. Basically, if you're going to work in a black neighborhood or a store where your patrons are black, you have to respect them enough to know that they aren't going to steal. You have to be comfortable enough to know that they are not going to steal. All you have to do is be comfortable. Be comfortable with your customers. That's all I ask for. Because I'm not going to sit there and say, oh, I'm not going to go to the store because it's ran by East Asians, or I'm not going to go to the store because it's ran by Arabs. I don't feel that way. I just feel as if they are respectful to me, then I don't have an issue with the fact that they are running stores. Because I feel it's different than having a white girl running a hair store for black people. Because my mom tried to ask me that, like, well, what if a white girl ran a store for black girls with black hair? I said that would be weird, but it is what it is. I personally wouldn't support it. I mean, I feel like that's some exploitative bullshit, and I feel like it makes more sense for East Asians to run beauty supply stores because, as well as African American women, they also have a culture of selling beauty businesses like nail salons, like how a lot of black women work at hair salons. A lot of East Asian women do have their businesses where they do nails, stuff like that. So I feel like it does make sense in a way, like they make businesses off of cosmetology, stuff like that. That's how I feel. Like I don't mind it. I'm not mad about it. I'm mad at anti-blackness. That's what I am going to say. I am mad at anti-blackness. I am not mad at anyone that's running their businesses and trying to make money. And that's all I have to say for about now. I want to say something else about. I want to say something. I don't know. I always want to say something else, but then I forget. I wanted to talk more about this whole beauty supply store phenomenon where people just don't respect black customers enough to let them shop in peace. I shouldn't have to go to the store and worry if someone is going to touch me because I am a black girl and they are East Asian and they feel as if black people are just thugs, because anti-blackness in East Asian communities is no joke. There are black East Asians, there are Blasians. So no, I don't want to say all East Asians feel that way, but a lot of non-black East Asians do feel that way. I've never ran into someone that was East Asian that had overt anti-black sentiments towards me or any black people. Like, for the most part, they've been cool. Maybe it's just because I'm the type of person where they feel comfortable around, because I'm not gonna lie, growing up I've always been seen as this not like other black girl type. I'm not even going to front about that. But I personally have never dealt with anyone that was non-black that made it clear that they didn't like black people or that they had an issue with me because I'm black. I just hear other black people telling their experiences with East Asians or Arabs in particular. From my experience, when I went to the beauty supply store in North Carolina where my dad lives, and the people working there they appeared to be Arab, or like visibly Arab. one of the men looked as if he were Afro Arab because he was dark skinned and his hair was quite kinky, but they weren't as friendly as the East Asians in my neighborhood. I did notice the difference where, while there are a lot of anti black East Asians running black beauty supply stores, they seem to be more receptive to black customers than like the people in my dad's neighborhood that were Arab. I did notice the stark difference between like, okay, like we don't like I don't know, like, because there are East Asian stores where I've been to, or supply stores where they just weren't very friendly or they didn't seem comfortable, but then like other times they did seem comfortable, like enough to talk to you and stuff. Like they were very friendly, they seemed grateful to their black customers. Whereas like for the most part, when I went to places where it was ran by Arabs, the anti-blackness was very blatant. So, and like I said, I'm not going to sit there and say don't go to any place where it's ran by non-black POC, because I feel like that can almost be xenophobic too. Like, don't feel like, oh, I'm not going to go there because it's ran by non-black POC. I do want to support POC businesses, but I'm not going to support anti-black businesses, and that's all I'm going to say for now. So, I hope you enjoy this video, enjoy my blog. So